Thank you for coming today. I'm attorney Gloria Allred. With me is Summer Zervos. Standing behind me are my law partners, Michael Morocco and Nathan Goldberg. I'll be making a statement, then Ms. Zervos will be making a statement, then we'll take some questions. We will then provide you with copies of the lawsuit and also the case number that was filed today. Okay, could you move over a bit, please? Thank you for the suggestion. Okay. Okay. Today we are here to announce that this morning we filed a defamation lawsuit on behalf of our client, Summer Zervos, against President-elect Donald Trump. The lawsuit alleges that Ms. Zervos had been subjected to unwanted sexual touching by Donald Trump and that she had told family and friends about the incidents not long after these incidents occurred. She did not go public or take any action against Mr. Trump at that time, however, because she decided that Mr. Trump's behavior had either been an aberration, a test, or that he may even have regretted or been ashamed of his behavior. The lawsuit alleges the following. In October 2016, that all changed. And this is a quote. What I'm reading now is a quote from the lawsuit, all of it. On October 7th, when Trump's own recorded crude and vulgar comments to Billy Bush on the Access Hollywood tapes recorded in 2005 were broadcast, it became clear that Mr. Trump's sexually inappropriate behavior towards Ms. Zervos was entirely consistent with Trump's own words, and that his belief that he had the right to sexually assault women and even to boast about it. Then at the October 9th presidential debate, Mr. Trump told the world a bold-faced lie. He stated in response to a direct question from Anderson Cooper that he had not ever done any of the things that he had bragged about to Billy Bush, end quote. Ms. Summer further alleges in the lawsuit, quote, for the first time, Summer Zervos saw Trump's behavior towards her for what it was, that of a sexual predator who had preyed on her and other women. She realized that she was just one of many women who had been victimized by Mr. Trump's predatory conduct. Ms. Zervos could no longer rationalize or excuse Mr. Trump's behavior by telling herself that his behavior had been a mistake or an isolated incident for which he might even be ashamed. Mr. Trump had no shame. His own boasting to Billy Bush made clear that his behavior was intentional. Ms. Zervos knew that Donald Trump had lied to the country and to the world, and knew that the statements he made to Billy Bush were not just words or locker room talk, but were evidence of his pattern of misconduct towards women. Ms. Zervos felt a responsibility to inform the public of the true facts. It was unacceptable to stand by and allow a presidential candidate to lie openly, with impunity, to the American public. She came forward, as a number of other Trump victims did, to inform the public of the facts that she knew were true, to make clear that Donald Trump had kissed and groped her without her consent repeatedly, end quote. The lawsuit goes on to allege, quote, and what did Donald Trump, the liar and misogynist, do to cover up his lies? He lied again and debased and denigrated Ms. Zervos with false statements about her. Trump immediately lied, saying that he, quote, never met Ms. Zervos at a hotel or greeted her inappropriately, end quote. And we're still quoting from the lawsuit. He quickly went further, describing Ms. Zervos' experience, along with those of others, as, quote, made-up events that never happened, end quote, quote, 100% fabricated and made-up charges, end quote, quote, totally false, end quote, quote, totally phony stories, 100% made up by women, many already proven false, end quote. Quote, made up stories and lies, end quote. Quote, totally made up nonsense, end quote. He falsely stated, quote, every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign, total fabrication, the events never happened, end quote. During the last presidential debate, he stated that these women were either being put forward by the Clinton campaign or were motivated to come forward by getting, quote, 10 minutes of fame, end quote, and nothing more, end quote. Ms. Zervos alleges in her lawsuit, quote, but it was Donald Trump who was lying when he falsely denied his predatory misconduct with Summer Zervos and derided her for perpetrating a, quote, hoax, end quote, and making up a, quote, phony story to get attention, end quote. The lawsuit sets forth the impact that these events had on Ms. Zervos. The lawsuit alleges as follows, quote, in doing so, he used his national and international bully pulpit to make false, factual statements to denigrate and verbally attack Ms. Zervos and the other women who publicly reported his sexual assaults in October 2016. Mr. Trump knew that his false, disparaging statements would be heard and read by people around the world, and that these women, including Summer Zervos, would be subjected to threats of violence, economic harm, and reputational damage. In his effort to win the presidency and counter the damage to his election prospects based on his own recorded words with Billy Bush, Trump knowingly, intentionally, and maliciously threw each and every one of these women under the bus with conscious disregard of the impact that his repeatedly calling them liars would have upon their lives and their reputation, end quote. Quote, his statements are plainly defamatory and caused serious harm, end quote. Quote, this lawsuit seeks to make Donald Trump accountable for the significant damage that he has caused Ms. Zervos, a woman who had the fortitude and the courage to come forward and speak truth to power so that the nation would be informed about the true Donald Trump, end quote. Enough is enough. Truth matters. Women matter. Those who allege that they were victims of sexual misconduct or sexual assault by Mr. Trump matter. Prior to filing this lawsuit today, Ms. Zervos volunteered to take a polygraph examination regarding her allegations of Mr. Trump's sexually inappropriate conduct towards her. The lie detector test was administered by a very experienced and recognized polygrapher. She passed the lie detector test. The polygraph examiner concluded that she was telling the truth. Because truth matters, prior to filing this lawsuit, on November 11th, 2016, at a news conference with Ms. Zervos, I called on then President-elect Donald Trump to retract his statements that the accusers are, quote, liars, end quote, and that their allegations are, quote, fabrications, end quote, and, quote, fiction, end quote. I said then that retraction would undo some of the damage that Mr. Trump has inflicted on his accusers. over 2 months have passed since I challenged Mr. Trump to retract, but he has failed to issue a retraction. Ms. Zervos is now left with only one option, that is to file a lawsuit against Mr. Trump. Even now, however, Ms. Zervos is willing to dismiss her lawsuit if he will retract his false statements about her and acknowledge that what Summer alleged about Mr. Trump's sexually inappropriate conduct towards her is and was the truth. We fully expect that Mr. Trump will use every means at his disposal to try to delay this case and avoid having to give his testimony under oath in a deposition in this case and before a jury in a court of law. We believe that the justice system will provide Ms. Zervos the opportunity to litigate her case, even though she is suing the most powerful individual on this planet. That is the essence and the beauty of our system of justice. No one is above the law, including the president-elect, soon to be president of the United States. In the syllabus to the United States Supreme Court case of Clinton versus Jones, some people call it Jones versus Clinton, but it's officially Clinton versus Jones, the Supreme Court, the reporter of decision stated that, quote, "The court explained that the president, like other officials, is subject to the same laws that apply to all citizens, that no case had been found in which an official was granted immunity from suit for his unofficial acts, and that the rationale for official immunity is inapposite, where only personal, private conduct by a president is at issue," end quote. Therefore, in order to obtain justice and allow the truth to be determined, we believe that it's necessary for Mr. Trump to answer Ms. Zervos' allegations in a court of law, rather than in his bedroom by tweeting in the middle of the night. Summer is very brave to have brought this lawsuit. She knows that she will be attacked by Mr. Trump and his supporters and defenders, but she is willing to endure and suffer unwarranted attacks against her in order to vindicate her rights. We applaud her courage and hope that millions of people will support her in her journey to justice. And after Summer makes her statement, I will give you the case number and where it was filed, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Today I filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump for defamation. On November 11, 2016, I called on Mr. Trump to retract his statements about me, calling me a liar. I also called upon him to state that what I said about his behavior towards me was true. More than 2 months have gone by, and he has not issued that retraction. I wanted to give Mr. Trump the opportunity to retract his false statements about me and the other women who came forward. Since Mr. Trump has not issued a retraction, as I requested, he has therefore left me with no alternative other than to sue him in order to vindicate my reputation. I want Mr. Trump to know that I will still be willing to dismiss my case against him immediately for no monetary compensation if he would simply retract his false and defamatory statements about me and acknowledge that I told the truth about him.
Okay, the case number, this is filed in New York, and the index number is 150522-2017. And this case was filed this morning, So we have confirmation of that from the court that it was filed.